welcome to the show.
What's up, Nick? How you doing, pal?
Good, buddy. Good. I really appreciate you you joining me on my third episode. It seems like we were trying to schedule this thing for nearly 2 weeks with
Very busy man, Nick. Very busy.
the tropical storms and all the personal conflicts with us both, but mostly you.
Yeah.
Little background on George. George is a project superintendent for Hunter Roberts Construction Group. George and I met back in 2004, 2005, while I was with Shoemaker Construction. We did a project together, Tivoli Condominiums, which some people say Tivoli. What do you say, Tivoli or Tivoli?
Tivoli.
Tivoli. I always did too.
Yeah.
But a lot of people say Tivoli. That was a $40 million two-phase project, and George was with Dale Construction at that time. He was the lead carpenter foreman, and you guys didn't end up doing phase two. You did phase one, correct?
Yeah, we just got the low rise.
The low rise, yeah. And then phase two was a mid-rise 10-story. Yeah, George and I, when we met, George was a guy that I immediately connected to, because George's ability to conceptualize and visualize details was very impressive. And I know I'm talking to the audience here, whoever listens, but George, we've talked about this because we're definitely personal friends, and George is actually a neighbor of mine too. But your level of conceptualization and detail, orientation, we would have projects where you would require an RFI, which is a request for information. And George would visualize an issue that we would have on drawings and be able to conceptualize it and put basically pen to paper and create that detail. And that would help the project immensely, because when you submit RFIs with details, which George would do, would help us, the construction manager. It would just speed the project up, because the architects 9 times out of 10 would agree with George's detail. So that was just something that I wanted to say. It was pretty.
Oh, you stop now. Yeah.
Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. But ever since George and I connected back then, I've been recruiting him ever since. And I recruited him to come to, I believe, Shoemaker at the time, but George was a committed and loyal guy to Dale Construction. And then I guess it was about 5-6 years later, in 2011.
Right after the art museum project.
Yep. I finally was able to get you.
We did a $25 million. We did it. I went to the art museum. We were there for 3.5 years. And then I went to Czech Rit, and we wound up doing a $25 million penthouse. And then that's where I left.
Yeah. Yep. Finally got George to come over. He was a lead foreman for Dale, and now he's a project superintendent for Hunter Roberts Construction Group, which was my previous employer. And now George is running big work. It was a pretty interesting project that you and I did when I left. That was a Temple University Pearson McGonigal Hall. It was around $60 million project that you came on board on back in, what was that? 2000
10 years ago.
2011. Yeah.
Yeah.
But tell me how you started in the trades. I know you were in the Marines, and you were a hand-to-hand combat specialist, correct?
Well, it was artillery. That was my primary MOS. And anybody who's been in the service, they know that if you have half a brain in there, they put you and give you a bunch of different billets to serve and different things to do. But that was my primary MOS. But yes, I was a hand-to-hand combat instructor.
So you spent 4 years in the Marines, correct?
4 years of duty. Then tried the reserves like 1.5 years.
Okay.
Well, 2 lakhs a day ago for me. But needless to say, no regrets.
And then when you got out, you went into the apprenticeship program.
Right. Yep. I took the test while I was still in the service.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I'm up here on leave. I had to take a 96 is what they call it. You get 4 days off. Kind of funny, Nick. I walk in and I go in and take the test, and there's about 250 guys in here taking this test. And I get done the test, and I'm within the top 10% that get done the test. And I walk up to these two teachers. There were two of the teachers there who I went through the 4 years of school with. And, from this jarhead, I got the cut, all jacked. And I walk up to these guys and I said to them, I said, listen, I kind of want to know if I pass this test right now. And they're like, yeah, you get the results in about 10 to 14 days, kid. Yeah, just don't worry about it. I'm like, guys, listen, I'm up here. I'm in the Marine Corps. I came up here. I'm actually leaving right from here back to North Carolina. I said, I need to know if I pass this test, because if I didn't, I'm re-enlisting. Well, they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting ready to go. I said, I need to know if I pass this test now. And they look at me, they're like, you're not kidding, are you? I went, no, I really don't. And the one guy was Steve Serino. He's a great guy. Went up being an awesome. Him and Dan Rokes, there were two teachers up there, two great guys. Needless to say, Dan Rokes goes, wait a minute, kid, I'll be back in a minute. So he walks away, he comes back, and about 10 minutes later and goes, you have nothing to worry about. You're okay. I went, all right, great. Thanks a lot, guys. Shake their hands and off I go. I got out of the Marine Corps on a Thursday and started the Carpenters Union that Monday. I got out of the service, wife, 2 kids, got to provide.
Yeah.
Gotta provide.
Yeah.
And I remember checking into school, and the one guy, Steve Serino, goes, yeah, Dan Marino was here, weren't you? And I went, yeah. He goes, I didn't know if you were kidding with me or what the hell you were talking about, but you weren't leaving until you found out. And I'm like, I'm not wrestling this big son of a bitch down to the ground and telling them that I'm not giving you your answer. So it was kind of cool. But yeah, I got out on a Thursday, started that Monday, and I started with Dale. And for the next 14 and a half years, I stayed with Dale my entire time.
Okay.
Ran work for them almost out of my apprenticeship. Got my wings on a night shift deal up at 38th and Walnut for University of Penn, Wharton School. Ran the night shift and never looked back. Kind of ran work from that time out.
Good stuff. Now, to give people perspective, you worked for Dale as an apprentice, correct?
Yes.
So you were there for 4 years apprenticeship? 4 years?
Apprenticeship. Yeah.
Were you a foreman immediately after, or journeyman for a little while, or?
I kind of was trying to take the lead, as an apprentice. I had a bunch of great older gentlemen, carpenters, that they take you under your wing. You know what I mean? If they see that you're somebody that's not there, you get the knucklehead kids, the kids that are right out of high school, and, they know daddy or they know Uncle Bob and they got them in, and, they're knuckleheads. They're just young kids that didn't have anything, where I was on the opposite end of that spectrum, 25, wife, 2 kids, and knew I didn't want to wear the tools for 30 years. Wanted to use my brains. And not that that's a bad thing. It's just some people have a little more drive than other people. You go through life, you'll find that out.
Sure.
But needless to say, I kind of was nurtured by a bunch of really, really great mechanics who took me under their wing for my entire apprenticeship. It was a good thing. It was a great thing. Yeah. Kind of got the ball rolling, and I got out of my time and got an opportunity.
Yep. And when we met, I could kind of sense, that you were looking for the next move, but I know you were considering, now just explain what a roadman is. Cause I think if I recall correctly, you were considered to be Dale's roadman at the time.
Yeah. It was between myself and one other guy who's still the roadman. Great guy as well.
Gotcha.
Just company just went in a different direction with him. Which again wasn't a bad thing. He ran a bunch of big work for Dale. Great guy. Just didn't get that shot. And again, I think it was for the better. Yeah. Where I'm at now. Sure. And then your perseverance and get me to jump ship. Constantly every 6 months giving me a call. You ready? You ready? You ready again? Are you ready? So,
I knew it was your destiny. But now you're running big work. You're running big work and and you're doing well. Doing well, man.
No, thank you. Again, all thanks to you. Little push. That's all I need.
You would have found your way without me, but no, I was glad to be a part of it. Now, you're part of the Philly Carpenters Union, local.
Yep. Local 158.
If you can
just a big merge. We just had a big merge about.
When was the merge?
A couple years back, I'd say about. It's been a work in progress, I think, with the unions, just because Philadelphia being it was a large local, 10 to 12,000 members.
Mm-hmm.
And then the international merged everyone from all the way out to Ohio,
Mm-hmm.
over to New Jersey. I think we go down to actually Virginia now and up to Maine.
It's called
And
the Northeast, right?
Yeah.
It's called the Northeast.
They kind of merged everybody into this. It's just a giant conglomerate of carpenters, and again, strength in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So now, depending on what union you're in, Philadelphia has always been a strong union town. So they really couldn't bother with the 150, the 1856s and the 1070, all those different locals that were in Philadelphia. They merged them into 158. That's where I'm at now. Yeah.
Good stuff. Now, just can you give me a little perspective on the jurisdictional work that carpenters do? Like just for someone out there that doesn't know, all the things that carpenters do, just list the items that would be under the jurisdictional work for carpenters.
Yeah. So you have you have the Carpenters Union. Carpenters Union is wood framed houses, steel framed buildings, not structural steel, but metal studs. We do all kinds of, from your regular doorknob that you see on an office building to if you're doing housing, right down to the bedroom knobs that you put on.
Mm-hmm.
All the way up to your commercialized hardware systems inside hospitals, internal parts, pieces that tie into electrical systems, that tie into security systems. We do all the
framing, drywall.
The framing, the drywall.
Yeah,
I'm trying,
cabinetry.
You know what? And I probably should be touching base a little better on the framing and the drywall and all that stuff as well. But most people don't realize that the Carpenters Union has these specialty things that they do, and that's why I was touching base on hardware and stuff like that. But ceilings, drop ceilings, ACT ceilings. Mm-hmm. We've been known to put. I know at the Constitution Center, we did a bunch of the interior limestone panels because that's a system that attaches to our metal studs. We actually hung these limestone panels. Mm-hmm. Again, the masons weren't too happy with us on the outside, but unfortunately we did it. The project I'm running right now, exterior porcelain panels coming from Italy. Mm-hmm. The carpenters are hanging those. So there's a lot of specialty work we do outside of there besides framing and drywall and stuff like that. We also do housing, housing work. All wood framing. Everybody thinks they get in the Carpenters Union, and I'm really good with wood. I'm like, you're not going to touch much wood. I can tell you now if you're getting a 158 because it's all commercial construction, which you really don't use a lot of wood. It's all metal studs and
Also metal siding and metal roofing. That's a jurisdictional, I think, battle with the sheet metal union, right?
It's standing seam roofs.
Yeah, I think there's kind of give or take there with there's some sharing of the jurisdictional. I think
sometimes I put a composite crew together. Well, for the most part, it's carpenters.
Yeah,
they actually teach it in school.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go through your 4 years of schooling, all these different things, all the different facets of construction, they teach you. From quarry and countertops, repairing quarry and countertops.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. And what I love about being a carpenter as well is it's and nothing against painters, tapers, all those guys, but they paint all day.
Yeah.
The tapers tape all day. As carpenters, get in there and you don't know what you could be doing. As long as you're a multifaceted carpenter and try to be a sponge and grab as much as you can, and you learn a little bit from this guy and learn a little bit from that guy, and you become more well-rounded.
Yeah.
Every day work could be different for you.
Yeah.
But,
definitely a good thing. You guys do an awful lot. That's for sure. Yeah. I mean, out of every trade, I think I just had an interview with a steam fitter, and they do a lot too. I think between you guys are probably the two that probably do the most as far as, just a variety of things. It's not just, one thing. No. Plumbers, it's certain piping, but where the electrical contractors too. They definitely do a variety as well.
I think, and I use tapers and painters for the simple fact that it's taping and paint. Whereas your plumbers, they're putting piping in and stuff, but they still have finished work that they do as well.
They do.
Your electricians, they do their, they're pulling wires, and they have their different gangs that do different things, but then they get into the crazy finishes on the lights and stuff like that. So, it's on their end as well. I think that they, again, they're also somebody that they have to be well-rounded in order to see all those different things.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
When you get into these trades, some guys get labeled, and they get labeled, he's going to be pulling outlets for the rest of his time because he didn't take that time to stand outside the box and go, where do I want to be in 10 years? Where do I want to be in 20 years?
Yeah.
All these guys have to do 30 years to get a retirement. Some guys do more. I have a cousin who's about to retire. He's done 36 years in the union. He still has 3 years to go. He got out right out of 17 and he'll retire at 52. So he'll have 35 years in the union, 36 years.
Okay. Gotcha. Did you consider any other trades, or was it carpentry is something that you were? No,
I got out of the union. I got out of the Marine Corps and had the opportunity to take a test. My father was a plumber.
Okay.
Non-union plumber. I did plumbing and heating up until I went in the Marine Corps.
Okay.
I actually worked for a plumber supply house. They were actually getting ready to pull me in as a B local plumber working in plumbing supply houses, but I already signed the contract. So that ship flew.
Got it. Got it. What's the local wage rate these days for a carpenter, just roughly journeyman?
I want to say it's about $44 or $45 an hour.
Okay.
In around there. Then the carpenter foreman are usually 15% above that. And then depending on, a lot of the bigger outfits, if you're running bigger work, you make your deals.
Oh, sure. You can make a deal. Yeah.
Like the superintendents, when we come in, you go to these companies and, there's a set number that you can make. I think it's 25% above. But, there's so much work out there right now. And if you're a well-rounded superintendent, the sky's the limit.
It certainly is. And that's a good way to take this conversation. When you're a carpenter foreman, or really any lead trade foreman, if you're looking to take the next step, and that would be a project superintendent. So George is a project superintendent for a large construction manager, general contractor, and he is the lead guy on site. Tell us a little bit about what your day is like and what you do exactly day in and day out as a project superintendent.
Do you want a good day or a bad day now? They vary. I can tell you that. I was off today, and I felt like I was in work from 6:30 when my phone started ringing until about 9:30.
Yeah.
And it's just because, like Nick, like you had just said, you're the lead super on the job, and guys don't know you're off, and it's a Monday, and I have an assistant super there who's awesome. We have a great team of people that are on our project now. Our senior project manager to our PMs. To our assistant PMs that are on.
You didn't send that group text out and say, I'm off? You didn't let everybody know that you're off? Don't bug me?
You have, especially, like that matters, Nick. Yeah.
Right.
George is off today. We won't call him. No. But they,
you're never off. Yeah.
No, you're not. And your days, your day can go from a nice, easy day where everything's well-versed, the schedule is rolling, and it doesn't go perfect, but I only got 40 phone calls today instead of 140 phone calls, so that's a good day. Then you have your other days where it's it seems like the last 4 weeks have been those days. You finally, and again, you start your Monday out with, you have a bunch of different subs coming on, out of town contractors that are coming in, and like Friday I had a big thing with the millwrights called me, the carpenters called me. We're putting this giant interior turntable inside of this building we're doing at Penn. This is the first of its kind in Philadelphia. No other building has a turntable inside it so that the trucks can actually pull inside the loading dock, and it spins the truck, backs it into a loading dock, and then it can pull straight out. And again, it's for the safety of the students coming in. They don't have to do, these K-turns out in the middle of Spruce Street. So it's a big thing.
Wow. Very cool.
So the turntable guy's an out-of-town guy. Friday, I get a phone call. Iron workers are putting it in. They hired 2 iron workers from the hall.
What's the turntable made out of? What's it made out of?
So it's giant steel diamond plates that are shaped like pies. It's
Diamond
30
plates.
foot radius.
Got it.
Madison did this 30-foot radius, 2 foot into the ground. Structural details on it were crazy, you know what I mean? As you could imagine. But then it sits on these rollers. There's 2 stages of rollers, and there's these steel pie-shaped pieces that go in that attach to this center stile, and this thing literally spins. And again, it's almost automated like a car wash. So when they come up to a gate, the gate lift arm will read, and then these lights start blinking, and it'll tell him when to pull in, and then it'll spin him to whatever dock that he has to go to. He'll back off and do what he has to, and then pull back out.
Got it.
But again, 2 steel guys are putting this thing in on Friday. Carpenter business organizer gives me a call and says, "Yo, George, that turntable out there, who's putting that in?" I said, "There's 2 iron workers here." I said, they just put this thing up in New York with 2 iron workers. He said, "Did he? We kind of think that's millwright's work." Well, millwrights are in the Carpenters Union. So I had the millwright business agent give me a call and go, "George, listen, we're dying out here. The industry just doesn't call for millwrights anymore. This stuff's getting in-house carpenters are doing it, and yada, yada, yada." And again, me being where I'm at, I have to represent Carpenters Union as well. So I called this out-of-town contractor who's on a plane to South Carolina going home for the weekend and said, "Listen, millwrights need you to put somebody on, or I don't know what repercussions could happen Monday morning." But they're willing to put an apprentice on there because it's their work. And with this being the first one in Philadelphia, I think it would be a great idea to have one of them out here to see what's going on here.
Sure.
And they did. They had no problem with that. You know what I mean? But
and they shouldn't. Yeah.
No. But there's some of the trials and tribulations you go through in a day. Yeah. But for the most part, I love what I do. I love what I do. So no matter how bad the day is or how good the day is, every day you can stand outside the box, and you're mentoring these assistant superintendents that are coming up, which I got a great assistant superintendent. He was actually my apprentice at Tivoli, where you and I were.
Really? Who?
Kid named Anthony Galati. He worked for the guys that were doing all your structural framing outside. Okay. Remember, there was another company there. They folded on that job.
Well, Wyatt did the framing on the mid-rise that I recall.
Yes, Wyatt was there, but on this one here, I forget what the name of the company was. Okay. But I wound up picking him up as an apprentice. Okay. And kind of took him under my wing, and he went to the art museum with me. He got out of Union, came back in. He got out of Union, went to college, went to Temple. Yeah, Temple. Nick went to Temple. That's why I'm throwing it out there. But went to Temple. Became a kinesiology major. Yeah. Was going to go to school for his master's, ran out of money. Got back in. Called me and said, "George, I'm trying to get back in Union. Do you know what I got to do? What steps?" Called a business agent down at Carpenters, and they said, "Listen, he's got to get sponsored again." So called the Roadman to Dale, which again, good guy, great guy. I've known Glenn for years. He said, "Yeah, we'll pull him in." I always liked Anthony. He was a hard worker. Pulled him back in, and for the next year and a half, Anthony called me every 3 to 4 months and asked me what he needs to do because he wanted to get the position on it. So I was doing another project for Penn before that, and every 3 months, Nick, this guy would call me. Yeah. What am I doing? What do I need to do? Take some Drexel courses. You got to learn blueprint reading. You got to get in a company that's going to let you get a shot as a foreman. You got to learn to lead, run men. Again, all the parts and pieces that we do in a day. But he wound up doing all that, and started this project, needed an assistant. I'm actually supposed to have another assistant on this project, and we wound up doing it together, just him and I. Pulled him in, and it's worked out awesome. He's definitely going to be a great superintendent. Good guy.
I'm glad to hear it. What project are you working on now? What is it exactly?
It's the WARB project for University of Penn down at Wharton School.
It's called the what?
WARB, W-A-R-B.
The WARB? Okay.
Yeah, right now we're up to about 140 guys. Okay. I remember reading, it was actually in the Structural magazine. Our company, the structural engineer for our project, actually called us and told us that it's in the Structural magazine that she's in, that she does a lot of things for.
Who's the structural engineer?
Keeson Hood. Okay. Yeah. Actually, this is the second one we're doing back to back with them. So we actually have a really, really good relationship with the structural engineer there. So she told us that we were in this magazine. So I went and looked, and I said, I think the project's in upwards of like 80 million. This one we're doing now. Oh, wow. But this one is, again, here, superintendent, I'm a carpenter, but as a superintendent, you have to learn everybody else's job.
Yeah.
You don't have to know it to the fullest extent, but you have to be able to grab little parts and pieces of everybody's, whatever their scope of work is on that project. And every job you do is something different. Now, this one here, we actually moved an underground substation that controlled 30 buildings for Penn and moved it above ground. So the infrastructure, you can imagine, duct bank stuff, the underground that hit, and then you're working right in the middle of 36 and Spruce. We're digging down and we're finding old foundations, old streets. It was unreal, the things we were finding. You know, we're hitting super lines that were plotted somewhere else that now they're not. They're moved somewhere else. And I'm in a meeting and I'm watching the rig come back up and petting at the table at an owner's rep meeting. I'm like, this is great. So we run out there, and again, that wasn't a good day. That was the day that we talk about there. But again, no matter how good the day is or how bad the day is.
Yeah. Looks like we're having a little bit of...
if you enjoy what you do, you stand aside the box at the end of the day and look back at how that day went or that week went and see where it's at.
Yeah, it looks like we were having a little audio or video.
Yeah, I see you.
Can you see me? All good?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you froze for a little while. But I think I have it on audio. Well, good.
Audio, keep it.
So back to what you do. I mean, communication is got to be one of the most important things. I mean, you mentioned you got 140 calls. So it's answering your phone, it's getting back to guys, and it's coordination. It's coordinating and communicating with all the various foremen and or project managers for each trade discipline. Correct?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I mean, you touch base on something. Communicating is probably the biggest thing that we have on our project.
Yeah.
Especially, your predecessors and your successors to the trades that you're working with have to know where you're going to be within the next week. And we do a 4-week look ahead, which I know you know all about. And it's as a superintendent, it's your job to keep that thing up to par. Now, some things slip. You can't control everything. Could be weather related. Could be something that was supposed to come from California. Supposed to come this day and it wound up a week later. You know what I mean?
Could be a pipe break, right?
A pipe break. Could be a guy that hit a duct bank, an electrical duct tank, while the director of Penn's on a little conference that happened once.
Yeah.
But there's so many different, again, trials and tribulations that you face in a day. I think it's that, and I think the biggest thing is, Nick, realizing that I as a superintendent and you were a senior PM, I think when you left your project manager or whatever it is, I try to promote team, not just within the trailer, but outside the trailer. Yeah. Because Hunter Roberts doesn't succeed unless those trades out there succeed. And part of my job is to make sure they succeed. Yeah. So I think, I try to promote teamwork, and sometimes it's through, whether it's through the meetings or the different coordinating things that we do within the foremen that are there, which I have we have a bunch of great company, great foremen on this project. But also through recognition, going through, you're walking through a project, recognizing that first year apprentice that's out there, or recognizing my best foreman that's out there on the trade. You know what I mean? I do a lot of it through recognition, letting them know, hey, asking them what they're doing, how they're doing. Not long, because you don't want to tie them up or anything like that. But especially in today's world right now, what's going on, this whole COVID thing, letting these guys know they're in a safe environment, creating a safe environment for them. That's all part of the process. And you have to look at it from every angle, not just get in here, get this done, and we're getting out of here. It's not like that now. In this last, these last couple of months, what we're going through, it's a little different, and it's you want to say kid gloves, but it's not kid gloves. But you got to let these guys know that, listen, I don't succeed unless you succeed, but let's do it in a safe manner. You know what I mean?
I do. You brought up COVID. What's the procedures like with COVID on a big job that you're managing right now? Just curious. How do you guys manage that?
So every morning these guys come in and they fill out an attestation form. It's a form that's just ask, it's got our letterhead on the top, and it gives out, I think it's about 9 questions. It's, have you ever had COVID? Have you been around anybody that's had COVID? Do you have any symptoms? So, I just filled one out when I went to get my hair cut. You know what I mean? So everybody's filling these out now. And then we take their temperature.
Yeah.
It's worked out great. We actually, on our job, we had 2 guys that wound up coming up hot. But again, letting them know what direction you have to take if you do have any kind of symptoms or anything like that. These guys, they stayed home.
Their temperature was high when you say hot, or what?
No, they felt the symptoms and stayed home.
Okay, gotcha.
They never even came to the project.
Okay.
And again,
good.
This isn't a thing where I'm protecting myself. No, you got to protect
protecting others. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's definitely it's a team thing. You know what I mean? And I walk around the job and you got the guys that don't have a mask on, and you start telling the same guy 1 or 2 times, and the third time you say to them, if I have to tell you again, you're going home.
Yeah.
And then you hurt their pocket, they get the hint. You know what I mean? Same with safety glasses and stuff like that. But that's how our day works. And then you go out there and you're telling guys, and especially with these days, it's been 90, 100 degrees, 106 with the humidity, the feels like temperatures. And these guys are, to take the mask and just drop it down, you got, bud, got to keep that thing on. You got to keep it on. I know what you're up against, but you got to keep it on.
Yep.
But for the most part, these guys all get it. You know what I mean? And they want to come to work. Everybody was getting that extra $600 and a week and taking off and not coming to work. But these guys all wanted to be here. They wanted to come to work. For the most part, I think they enjoy the job. You know what I mean? We try to, again, it's whatever environment you promote.
Yep.
These guys go to your different GCs and stuff like that, and it's not the environment they want to be in. So you try to promote an environment that these guys want to come to work and be a part of, and let them know that they're a part of. So again, I walk through a project and everybody's giving me, yo, George, what's going on? Hey, good morning, or whatever it might be. And you give them the same recognition. And there's that little bit of, that little talk, or that just recognition from him to me and him to me. Yeah. Just,
Yep.
Yeah. I think it means something.
It means, I think it means everything. Yeah. Yeah. No, totally agree. And your ability to communicate with guys and to get the team together, it's always been exceptional. And to do what you do as a superintendent, you're leading a bunch of foremen, you're coordinating a bunch of foremen. You do it very well.
Thank you.
You do it very well. Yeah, man. So let's go outside of work here. I want to ask you a question here. Now think long and hard. Okay. If I were to take your Jeep or boat away, which one would get you more upset?
Well, Nick, first of all, I'm going to come looking for you. Find out. I want my shit back. But
I want to know which one you're more passionate about, your Jeep or your boat.
You know what? They're little toys. You know what I mean? But I could do without either of them.
I know.
I'm the guy, you know that.
I know. I just want you to pick one.
A fun day to me is the boat's new to me now, so I'd be.
I lost you again, man, with the reception here. What
did you?
Yeah, just say what you said again. Between the two,
I said if you took the boat's newer. The boat's newer.
Yeah.
So if you took the boat, I'd be more pissed.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that what's that?
It's like if I went down and if I said to you, if I went down and filled your pool in with dirt, would you be pissed? That's a new toy.
It is a new toy, and those storms filled it up with dirt now twice.
Yeah.
The 30-year storms. It's been a lot of work. Now, one thing about George that anyone who knows him knows he's quite the singer. So, is it Frank Sinatra or is it Tony Bennett? Who do you sing?
Listen,
Honestly, which one is it?
I'll sing anybody. I don't care. I'll sing in an empty toilet paper roll. I don't care. As long as I'm having a good time, Nick.
I've seen
I
it.
don't care.
I've seen it.
Sunday mornings with Frank is going on here. Sunday
Yeah,
mornings.
it's Frank. That's what I thought.
Playing throughout the house. Yeah.
Yeah. It's Frank. That's what I thought.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't like to give the microphone up once I have it. I will. Nick knows that about me. He's been on a couple bus trips that we run. So
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I think you took the mic out of my hand once. You're like, enough's enough. You know,
You're not hogging.
I'm like,
And I think it was a block party.
Yeah. You remember that, huh?
Yeah. Vaguely, but yeah.
Yes. So, do you have any questions for me at all, or anything else you'd like to share about your journey, your path? Just becoming a carpenter foreman, moving up to being a superintendent. Anything you'd like to share for the listeners and people that may be interested in becoming a carpenter and further in their journey to become a superintendent?
Yeah, I can tell you, as you know, I have two children. Both went to college. My daughter, she was going to be a physician's assistant. Halfway through college, realized that's not what she wanted to do. She actually got into a 5-year program. She played soccer all through college, NCAA tournament, won the CAC championship team she was with. And again, my son went to college. He was going to be a cop. He did the 3-year associate's program and realized that he didn't want to be a cop anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He actually was a laborer for me all through the 2 projects I did. Got out and said, I don't think I want to be a cop. I said, well, what do you want to do? He said, I think I want to get into carpenters. So I was doing a project up in Princeton. I was fortunate enough to know the business agent up there well. They got him down. He took the test, and he's in his 5th year of his apprenticeship. My daughter, and now 5th year apprenticeship, when he's a journeyman, he's a Jersey carpenter, which I think they're at 53 an hour, 54 an hour, something like that. They get paid more than Philly. The benefits are different. The Philadelphia's carpenters have a better benefit package as far as your healthcare, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, he's a 25-year-old kid, he's not even hitting full rate yet, and he's making $90,000 a year. He's now a carpenter for Hunter Roberts as well. And then I have my daughter who went to college, got out of college. These kids come out of college and they're trying to find jobs, and they get jobs, and, they're in debt, and, mom and dad are paying bills and paying the college bills. And I'm sure I'm like every other parent that's out there that they're fortunate enough that we can do it. So you're trying to keep them afloat and trying to find them a job, and they come out of college with, $100,000, $200,000 worth of debt, and those ranges can go up and down wherever they might be. And they're out trying to find a job, and they get one for $40,000.
Yeah,
they're living with mom and dad for the next 6-7 years because they can't afford to go out on their own yet. So I really think that college isn't for all the kids today. Really not. My son's one of them. He got out, and now he's a carpenter, and he's doing great. And there's a bunch of kids that try to go that college route, and sometimes it's not always the right thing, no matter what the parents say and what they do. And because they went to college, they think it's the right thing for them, and it's a different generation. And I just putting it out there that these trades, no matter it's carpenters, electricians, it could be the laborers, it could be the painters. These trades out here, the tradesmen, they're a dying breed. And don't lose sight of it. If it's something that you want to pursue, go for it. Go for it, because it's a good living. The unions, they again promote strength in numbers, and not to say that non-union or union or whatever that might be. Whatever round you go, of course, union in my eye is the way you want to go. And again, you get in these jobs as a construction superintendent, and you're out there running jobs, and I had to run a non-union project up in Princeton. And here's the difference where they're at, Nick. And this is why I promote the union the way I do. I'm doing this project up in Princeton, and the electrician's falling behind. I said to him, you need more men. You need more men.
Yep.
You got to get more men here. You're falling behind, and I'm going to let these carpenters bury you.
He doesn't have the resources.
He don't have the resources. He's like, George, I have ads in the paper right now. I mean, and this is how crazy it gets. In 4 different townships trying to get somebody to come over, he goes, and I can't find the right quality guy to get in here. I said, I don't care if you have your nephews up here pulling wire in these walls until you find somebody that's skilled enough and you can get me through the inspections, but you need to do something or I'm going to help you.
You're gonna get buried. Yeah.
I'm going to call a union contractor down in Philadelphia because we have the resources down there, you know, and they're going to come up here and bail you out. And it's not going to be good for you. Now, that's not a route that I'm going to go as a superintendent. Again, you're promoting teamwork and everything else, but I still have a schedule. And if there's liquidated damages or something on there, you know, somebody's going to have to eat that bill. And it's not going to be Hunter Roberts. It's going to be the guy that signed the contract saying that he's going to keep within the schedule.
He has a schedule attached to that contract. Absolutely.
So, and that's where I go with, if there were union contractors down here, you know, we call, you know, if I call a contractor and tell them, listen, you know, you guys need more manpower. We're trying to get bodies out here. And, you know, once we get past this, you know, another week or two, I'll be fine. And I'm like, you're not going to be fine. I'm looking at 4 weeks ahead already. And I'm looking at the master schedule that says you're not going to be fine. So then I can call a business agent and go, yo, how many guys are on the bench? And is there anybody that's worth a damn to bring out here to help this guy out? Because he's telling me he can't get anybody. So, you know, you have these guys and granted, not all of them are going to be your A person. You're going to have the guys that aren't as good as your, again, alpha, you know, your alpha guys, and they're your foremen and they're your
guys that are passionate about it. Yeah, sure.
That are great at what they do. And then you just have the guys that aren't, that are the mediocre guys that, and I say mediocre just for the fact that they don't want to be that, they're putting that leadership role. You know what I mean? Some guys are just driven to be that person, which don't make them bad people either.
No.
So they come in and you have somebody that went through 4 years of apprenticeship, and whether they've been in, you know, 5 years after their apprenticeship, 10 years after their apprenticeship, they know what they got to do. They know where they got to be. You know what I mean? Whereas you can't find that in a non-union sector, unfortunately. You know, that's where that's where the difference lies. I think within the two realms of, you know, non-union versus union. There is a difference.
And I think there's a difference. The difference is varying in certain trades, you know, because we, as you know, we do both as well, you know, union and non-union work, but yes, certain trades I think are kind of similar, you know, in terms of cost and your level of professionals. But on the grand scale, I totally agree with you. You know, union, the level of professionalism and just the way these guys, you know, attack and manage a job and the resources, the unions, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
And again, my father was a non-union plumber. He was a great plumber. He was an unbelievable plumber, but he was never given that opportunity to go to the union side of the house. You know what I mean? No, and nothing against a guy that's not doing the right thing, or not the right thing. I'm sorry, but the guy that's not going in there and he's not a union, you know, tradesman. You know, doesn't mean he's not doing it right or he's not worth the game. But if he gets the opportunity to jump ship and make that move, why not? You know? The pension's there, the annuities are there, everything's put in place for you. Again, the sky's the limit. Sky is the limit.
Yeah, man. Definitely. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. And you know, I had you slotted as my third one, and I wanted to make sure that we made it happen, even though the podcast release is going to now be delayed because of you. But you know, we'll figure that out.
No fingers again. You are something else, so fast.
Man, I really appreciate it.
I hope the audio is running when I said that. No.
I'm going to have to edit that piece. Good stuff, man. Anything else you want to share? Or?
No. Any other questions for me, or?
No, man. I was really looking forward to this because you're.
Just give a shout out to the Hunter Roberts team I'm on right now. Bunch of good guys.
Shout out to HRCG.
2 months left on this one. It's going to be a photo finish. Photo finish on this one.
Aren't they often like that though?
They are. This one here just had tentacles that it was unreal. Again, it was this one's definitely going to win.
It's fun though. It keeps you on your toes, doesn't it? Keeps you on your toes.
Love it though.
And your hair's not getting gray yet there, though. You're looking pretty good.
Yours is though.
Oh, yes, it is.
Matter of fact, you were gray when I met you. So we're very distinguished. You are very distinguished.
Yes, it has hit me for sure.
Well,
good seeing you, brother. And
you too. Thanks again.
Yeah, man. Let you get back to the homestead and
the wife's birthday, so we're headed down there. Sing happy birthday.
Happy birthday again to the wife.
I don't know.
Enjoy, man.
Thanks. Good talking
to you.
to you.
Talk to you. Take care.
Thanks.
See you, buddy. Bye.